Hello, all my beautiful people. How are you doing today? Welcome to the Alternate Point of View. My name is Tracy Lee, and you are here because, well, you're one of the lucky ones. Welcome to this channel. Welcome if you are new. Welcome if you are an OG. And welcome because you love crime. And we are going to talk about a case that we have been talking about for the last couple of months, and it is, yes, the Samantha Wall / Michael Jackson Bolanos case, because we are looking for justice for both. But right now, Michael Jackson Bolanos is still sitting in jail, and he is alive, and he needs to be free. Obviously, we want justice for Samantha because her life was taken and cut short for reasons unknown, or are they unknown? I think they're actually known, and I think Detroit knows, and I think the Jewish community knows. I believe that there's a lot of money and politics and a lot of handshaking and backdoor deals going on, and poor Samantha was sacrificed for that. So I want to talk about the trial in itself. I want to go back and go look at some testimony, and I want to dig deeper and figure out what questions were not asked at the trial. And I want to ask these questions because, obviously, I have a background in criminal justice, in forensics. I concentrated in forensics in college, and because a lot of these things just don't make sense. And I want to make it make sense because these questions were not asked at trial. They weren't even considered before bringing charges against Michael Jackson Bolanos. And when you are supposed to have prosecutors who are charging a case and think that they have this beyond a reasonable doubt, yet they do not. And I also want to point out something that the prosecutor said, that he had an astounding amount of evidence. Basically, he had so much evidence against Michael Jackson Bolanos for this case that he felt that Michael Jackson Bolanos was the one to do this, that he brought this to trial. However, he needed to give the confessed ex-boyfriend, Jeffrey Herbstman, use immunity to get on that stand and testify after he confessed to killing, darn it, damn YouTube, he confessed to deleting Samantha Wall out of this world. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to not say words that are real words. I'm sorry, YouTube. It's going to happen. No, it's not. Anyway, Jeff Herbstman confessed to eliminating Samantha Wall. And then he recanted his confession. And the prosecution gave him use immunity. We've already been over what use immunity is. It means that Jeffrey Herbstman can say, I am blue and I fly around the world in my invisible spacecraft. And he can say, nope, I never said that. And no one can hold him to those words as long as he has use immunity. But if they come up with evidence that Jeffrey Herbstman is a blue man flying around in an invisible spacecraft, then lo and behold, they can take him and prove that. Whatever. Anyway, enough of that shenanigans. Let's go to this guy who found Samantha Wall, the neighbor with this invisible dog that I'm still very, very curious about as to why in the world we still don't know who this dog is. Was it a small dog? Was it a mastiff? Was it a fluffy dog? Was it a short-haired dog? Was the dog on a leash? Was he holding the dog? Did the dog freak out and run away? Did the dog walk all over Samantha? What happened? Also, after re-listening to this testimony, I hear that it was raining a little bit and it was a little misty outside. That would make a bit of a difference, don't you think, in the exterior investigation of this crime scene? Yes, it would. Actually, even a little bit of a mist on an outdoor crime scene is a pain in the rear for investigators and crime scene technicians. It is awful. It makes it very hard, a lot harder to investigate a crime scene, even a little bit. You don't want that because it can contaminate the crime scene and it makes it a little bit harder, I don't know, a lot harder to figure out what you have if you don't collect that evidence right away. So here we are with Kevin Mole, which is odd because his wife, Jessica, she doesn't have his last name. I don't know. She's quite successful though. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's very, very successful. Kevin Mole is pretty successful in his own right, but the wife, she holds those purse strings. Anyway, let's look at Kevin Mole here and see what he has to say about this finding of Samantha. Also, by the way, I want to note that Kevin Mole himself does not call 911. He also himself does not attempt CPR on Samantha. He runs like a little soy boy with the dog, this mysterious dog. I don't know what kind of dog this is. I have no idea if this dog is a, gigantor dog or a toy poodle, a chihuahua. I don't know. No one knows. No one knows if this dog stepped in anything. No one knows if the dog licked Samantha. I don't know. Who knows? What I do know is that Kevin Mull did not call 911. His wife actually called 911. And what was Kevin Mull doing while his wife was on the phone with 911? Was he washing his hands? Was he washing the dog's feet? Was he changing his clothes? What in the world was Kevin Mull doing? I don't know, but it seems odd when you listen to his testimony. Let's listen.
Good morning, sir. Could you please state your name and spell it for the record?
Yes, Kevin Mull, Kevinmull.
Ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Sir, could you please tell the jury about the neighborhood you live in?
Yes, it's called Lafayette Park. It is a group of townhomes, about 20 buildings that are oriented in a configuration to create a neighborhood.
And that particular neighborhood, is that in the city of Detroit and the county of Lane?
It is correct.
And how long have you lived in that neighborhood?
I have been there about 4 years.
And I want to take you back to the early morning hours of October 21st of 2023. Does that day have some significance to you?
It does, yes.
What were you doing when you woke up that morning?
My wife and I were dog sitting for a friend. So we had a dog in the house, and the dog woke me up to go outside. So I was in the process of taking the dog outside.
Okay. And did you take the dog outside?
I did, yes.
And approximately what time did you take the dog outside?
About 6:20 a.m.
And when you took the dog outside, did anything come to your attention at some point?
Yes. As I went out into the little park the meadow that's between my building and the building across, where normally we would walk the dog, I noticed something on the sidewalk at the building directly across from my unit.
And can you describe what you saw on the sidewalk?
Yes, I saw an object there. It was still dark out and was rainy and misty, and I couldn't tell what it was. So as I made my way across the meadow, I eventually realized that it was a person that was lying on the sidewalk.
Okay. And can you describe that person's condition?
Yes, the person was laying on the sidewalk with their back towards me, and in what I would describe as a fetal position. And I noticed that right away that the person did not have any shoes on, which obviously was unusual for that location and the temperature and so forth.
Okay. Did you notice anything else about this person's condition?
Yes. Obviously, the person was not moving, so I called out, and as I got closer and heard no response, and it was very clear that that person was in distress based on, the lack of shoes and the position of the body and the state of the clothing.
Okay, did you see the person moving at all?
No movement.
Did you see any evidence of injury that you observed?
There was not immediate evidence of injury, but because the person was unresponsive, obviously I was very concerned. So
Okay, so I just want to point out that he said there was no immediate evidence of injury. So does that mean he did not see any blood? He did not see any wounds? He did not see anything? So no immediate evidence of injury. Remember that. He didn't see any evidence of injury. I guess the dog didn't either, because, I don't know where this dog is.
saw a spot on the body where on the person's back there was some exposed skin. The skin was blue, the feet were blue. I touched that part of the body to try to get some kind of reaction, and I immediately could tell how cold the body was.
And
How cold was the body? And here's the other thing. He immediately saw that her feet were blue. She literally walked through blood. There was blood all down the sidewalk, supposedly. Now, keep in mind, he also mentioned it was a little rainy. So there were bloody footprints, her bare footprints, according to the police, all through the house. So her feet would have been bloody, don't you think? So how did he see blue feet?
was there any reaction when you touched the body?
No reaction.
At the time that you saw the body, were you aware of who this person was?
I was not. Based on the condition, I immediately returned to my home and put the dog in the house and called for my wife to call 911. In which she did. When we returned, it was my wife that recognized her. I did not know her.
Y'all.
And what is your wife's name, sir?
Jessica Robinson.
And can you explain to the jury where the body was positioned relative to the closest building?
Yes. So the way the buildings are configured, there are 2 units side by side with 2 doors next to each other to enter the units, and there's a sidewalk approaching the unit. And she was laying more than halfway up the sidewalk, approaching those 2 doors.
And the night of October 21st, that night, did you stay at home that night in Lafayette Park?
I did, yes.
Did you hear anything that night?
I did not.
Did you see anything out of the ordinary that night?
I did not.
And your particular home.
Okay, I'm sorry. Finding a dead body on a sidewalk is pretty much seeing something out of the ordinary.
You said it was directly across from the building where you found the body?
Correct.
Did you have any camera on your home?
We have a ring, but it's not facing that direction. It's facing perpendicular, so it does not face that direction.
And when you touched the body, did you get any blood on you?
I did not.
Would you have had any reason to have your...
Pay very close attention to how he describes how he touched Samantha's body when he says this, because this is so unbelievable. It is almost unbelievable.
elbows, your back come into contact with the body?
I did not. I was at a distance and reached out, stretched out, and touched only the spot that the exposed skin had.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
No further questions. So he basically was like, no. I reached out and I just like was like, oh, there it is. There. Oh, she's cold. I didn't. How did he control the dog? Whatever kind of dog it was, I don't know. Reach out and barely touch her body to see if she was alive or not. And then, how do you have no further questions for the person that found her, but yet they talked to the wife on the stand way more than they talked to the husband, and the husband was the one that found her. Remember, when the wife called 911, it was like she was ordering takeout. And the 911 operator was literally like she was too busy to take her order. Like, yeah, anything else? Uh-huh. I mean, literally, it was just disgusting. But what I want to point out is this information right here. Because we're going to play part of Michael's testimony, because this is important for Michael's testimony and what Kevin Mull just had to say, because, the information, and this is what I've been saying all along, because why wasn't there estimated time of death on the autopsy? Because why? Well, it was botched. It was half done. It wasn't even half done. I don't even think it was a quarter done. I don't even think it was, I mean, what did they do? They took her organs out, but they didn't test anything. They didn't even get fingerprints off of her. So they didn't even do the rape kit test. They did the test, but they didn't process the test. And you know, Kim Worthy, man, she is all about these rape test kits, right? So let's talk about this cold to the touch. So while we're on the subject, bone and skin cells stay alive for several days. It takes around 12 hours for a human body to be cool to the touch and 24 hours to cool to the core. Rigor mortis commences after 3 hours and lasts until 36 hours after death. Forensic scientists use clues such as these for estimating the time of death. Go figure. Wow. I mean, I'm sorry. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that. Who doesn't watch CSI? Who doesn't watch SVU and Law and Order? Come on, people. Come on, man. I'm going to throw a Joe Biden out there for you. Just kidding. I hate Joe Biden. Anyway, usually body temperature is maintained stable 30 minutes to an hour after death before starting to decrease. Although this can persist for 5 hours in extreme cases. According to Marshall, 1969, metabolism, heat production, and body surface tissues are the main determinants for this initial delay in cooling. Now, how long does it take for a body to turn blue and cold after death? Here we go. Livor mortis usually sets in 20 to 30 minutes after death and increases in intensity until it becomes fixed at about 12 hours. Assessment of livor mortis can be useful in determining an approximate time of death or cause of death based on the approximate stage of lividity and the specific coloration. So, as you can see, it takes a little time. Also, there are other factors involved, as I've stated before: the temperature, the clothing, the amount of blood loss. All of these things do take into consideration. But why is this important? Because this is important because after someone has lost so much blood and after someone has died, because when Michael said that he came across her body and touched her, she was cold and crusty. And this was after 4 in the morning, because we see Michael on the bridge at 4:23 in the morning. Now, unless he is, oh my gosh, what's his name? The guy who just won the 100-meter sprint at the Olympics. Unless he's that guy, I mean, that means Samantha, who knows how long it had really been since she was out there on the sidewalk. Who knows? Did she actually go out of her house at 4:20 on that last motion sensor? We don't know. Could she have gone out earlier than that? We have all of this time, all of this motion that she supposedly was outside, that the motion sensor said, right? We have the ADT testimony guy. My boyfriend worked for ADT. He also says the same thing. The ADT system is 30 seconds off. So you can't go by an ADT for a time of death. That's the most asinine thing I've ever heard of. If someone puts my time of death and bases it off a goddamn alarm system, you people got problems. Okay? You need to go by the medical examiner. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Not the Detroit medical examiner, because she's like 20 something years old and she's been the medical examiner for less than 2 years. So she doesn't know what the heck she's doing. She doesn't even know how to finish an autopsy. So, and by the way, she's the assistant medical examiner. So which organs die last after death? Well, the last organ to fail would be the heart, which is why you give CPR, because you can bring back the heart. Your brain is going to be like mashed potatoes. So you can bring your heart back and get that thing going again, but your brain is probably going to be a vegetable. So, and like I said, mashed potatoes. Anyway, so the fact that when Michael touched her, he said she was cold and crusty, which is pretty gnarly, then that means that she was already there for quite some time, right? So if she was there, then how in the world would she be cold already to the touch if she hadn't been there already for at least, as they say, 20 to 30 minutes or more. So if that's the case, there's no way that, again, not that Michael Jackson Bolanos did it in the first place, but that means there is absolutely no way that he could have done it. Because if she was cold to the touch when he touched her, then her attack, as I've stated all this time, would have had to have happened between 1:24 or the 1:38, actually, when her phone stopped doing whatever it was doing. But again, her motion was showing at 1:24. There was motion detected in her townhome at 1:24. So it would have had to have happened at 1:24 or somewhere in that time frame, somewhere between 1 a.m., 1 something a.m., and somewhere before 4 a.m. So that makes much more sense But had the medical examiner put a time of death, an estimated time of death, which, like I keep saying, would have been so easy to do if they had just tested her organs. They could have tested her heart. They could have checked her stomach contents. There's so many things they could have done, but they did not do it. And now you have a prosecutor who doesn't know jack crap about time of death, who is estimating it off of an ADT alarm system, and who seems to think that Michael Jackson Bolanos is faster than the Flash and can delete someone in 0 seconds. And you actually have people out there who believe it. Oh, and I need to mention, there are people out there that are trolls out there that are just dead set on Michael Jackson Bolanos. But all of you trolls out there, I know who you are. I know who you're connected with. And I know why you're doing what you're doing. And you can stop now, because I have this channel for a reason. And you can call me what you want and you can say what you will. But I know who you are. I investigate. I look people up. I find out who you are. You're all related to the synagogue and to Dana Nessler somehow, some way. So you can troll me, you can comment, you can say what you will in all the public forums that you like, but I know and you know who you are. Your influence is not going to stop and cannot stop God's will. Period. And you cannot stop. Innocence is stronger than your mouth and your keyboard warriorness. So keep on if you like, but trust me, all the money that you have in the world and all the connections that you have in the world cannot stop God. So Michael Jackson Bolanos is innocent. And everything that you say and all the connections you have there in Detroit and all the corruption that Kim Worthy has up there does not matter. Does not matter, because God knows it all and he sees through all of you. And I'm looking you in the eye and telling you that God knows. God knows what's in all your hearts, and all your hearts are black. So I'm telling you, Samantha Wall was attacked way earlier than 4:20 a.m. And you can ask any medical examiner, even especially the wonderful medical examiner that Brian Brown got up there on the stand, who flat out said that that autopsy was incomplete and flat out said that there's no way to know exactly now when Samantha Wall was attacked because the autopsy was incomplete. And we can look, and as I said, it takes time for someone to get up there and be attacked, and for someone to actually turn cold and blue. It doesn't happen. So I would like to. I'm looking for when Michael Jackson Bolano said that when he touched her, that he touched her and she was cold to the touch. That she was cold to the touch. So if he said she was cold to the touch, Oh, this is much harder to do when I'm trying to. Here she.
Respond to you?
That wasn't okay.
Okay. And you said you touched their neck.
Yes,
Do you know which hand you might have used?
my right hand,
Okay. And why are you sure that you used your right hand?
because I remember.
Okay. And did you do anything? Did you shake the body? Did you do anything?
I didn't shake the body. I just checked the neck, put my hand kind of like in between right here. No air, no like breath or nothing. And once I realized that I just touched the dead person, I just grabbed the bag and I left.
Okay. And what did it feel like? What did the body feel like?
Cold and like crusty.
Okay. Was it wet? Was it dry?
Like paint on the wall.
Okay. Did you attempt to call the police?
My first reaction was to reach for my phone, but I had to consider where I was and what I was doing at the time. And I didn't feel like me personally, that would be a good idea to call the police.
Okay. And when you said you had to consider where you was and what you were doing, let's just, I guess, break that down a little bit. What were you doing in your mind?
Well, I was over there breaking into cars. Well, not breaking into cars, but going into motor vehicles. And I felt like if I had to call the police, I would be incriminating myself because the first question they're going to ask is, what are you doing over here?
Okay. And it'd be fair to say that you didn't have permission to go in these people's cars or attempt to open their doors, correct?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so as you can see, Michael says it was cold and crusty. So it felt like paint on a wall. And as I stated, it takes at least 20 to 30 minutes after death for livor mortis to start setting in, and it gets fixed in about 12 hours. So 20 to 30 minutes before it starts actually setting in. So even if she had gone out her townhouse at 4:20 when they last saw movement, her body wouldn't have been cold and crusty at the time Michael touched her. There's no way. She would have still been warm, even in 45-degree weather. It takes, your body does not start dropping body temperature, even in that temperature. It just drops like every half hour, your body drops about half a degree. So you have to take into consideration temperature, your clothing, all of that. She had on a hoodie. She had on a long sleeve shirt underneath that. Even though her body was also drenched in blood, that may have also contributed to the faster body temperature drop. But just so you know, for her body to be cold and for her body to turn blue, time would have had passed. Now, for the neighbor to see her blue and cold, that would be more feasible because a couple of hours would have passed if she would have left her apartment at 4:20 when the last motion detection was sensed. But since we don't really know, because the prosecution is using the ADT alarm instead of an actual estimated time of death, this case never should have gone to trial. Never. It never should have gone to trial based on an ADT alarm system time of death. It never should have gone to trial based on lack of medical examiner information. And it also never should have gone to trial based on this botched surveillance that they put together, like some sort of Frankenstein video. I mean, my God, if I wanted to put a doll together and make it the perfect doll, well, never mind, that would look like crap. Barbie already is perfect, I guess. So no, we're not going to do that. But I want to tell you how many and this is a statistic, it's not something that I made up and pulled out of my butt and decided to talk about it. It's actually a fact. How many burglaries turn into a violent crime? Well, this is not something that I make up. I literally look this. I can look this up. Look, this is not rocket science, people. I'm not a rocket surgeon. Okay, this is literally information anyone can pull up, and if you want to look at it, and this is all over. Okay, this isn't just in Michigan. It's not in Detroit. This is all burglaries. Okay, this is all over the country. Okay, so 7%, you guys, 7% of household burglaries turn into a violent crime. 7%. So you're telling me that someone who is walking downtown Detroit, supposedly checking cars, which, by the way, in the Frankenstein video, he walks past umpteen thousand cars and doesn't check a single one. You're telling me that he decides to go into this house and delete this person who's supposedly sleeping on the sofa. That's their narrative, that she was asleep on the sofa, which, by the way, I'm going to tell you for the millionth time that this chick was not sleeping on the sofa. She was dressed. She was looking like she was either going to walk somebody out or she was going somewhere or something like that. Because look, people, I'm just going to be real. We don't look like that when we at home, okay? Women don't do that, all right? When we're at home, we're in a t-shirt and underwear. I mean, we're lucky we got clothes on, okay? When we're home by ourselves, no, sir. We are not wearing no dang pants and a long sleeve shirt and a hoodie. Hell no, man. We comfortable. We're sitting at the house. We chilling. We're just no. We ain't about that life. Everything comes off. We're at the door. Things come off. But no. If we got to put clothes on, that means somebody's coming over, or we got to go out the door and meet somebody. I mean, no. That means we got to look at somebody. Okay? I'm just being real. I mean, you don't know how many times when we go out in public, my boyfriend's like, is that what you're going to wear? You going to put some real clothes on today? No, dude. No. You're lucky I got pants on. Or yoga pants. Whatever you want to call it. I'm just saying, that's not how this works. We do not put all that on to lay on the sofa and go to sleep. No. So she was either waiting for someone or just done seeing somebody. Also, the prosecution did not show any movement or any information from her ADT system earlier than when she got home. So we don't know if there was any movement in her townhouse before she got home. We don't know if there was anyone waiting for her in her townhouse before she got home. We don't know if she had guests over. We don't know if anybody entered her home prior to. They're only showing us information from when Samantha Wall came home from the wedding, period. What are they hiding? What information is out there that they're not showing? What was not allowed in the courtroom? I'm just saying. It's awfully strange. Because, you know, when you investigate a crime, I'm just going to put this out there for you as well. The before and the after is very, very important in investigating a crime. It's not just what happened at the moment. The before and the after are very, 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 very important. You got to know what happened before. You got to know what happened way, way, way before, because you need to know this person's history, much like they threw all of these guys on the stand all of her supposed boyfriends, flings, whatever, they put all these people on the stand, but did they really get into the meat of Samantha's life? No. Did they really get into what was happening throughout her day? No. The only thing they talked about is that she went to that wedding. They didn't talk about anything else that happened before the wedding. They didn't talk about, did she go to the grocery store? Did she go shopping for her dress to wear to the wedding, or did she just wear a dress out of her closet? Did she talk to any friends? None of these things came out. There's a lot more information about this situation. There's more questions than there are answers. What did Samantha do for the day? Who did she see that day? Did anything stand out that day? Did she have someone that was a stalker, like her sister said? Aaron Pergament, he's a stalker. Oh, I just used that word. It's just casual word. No big deal. Everybody has a stalker, don't they? It's just normal. Oh, he's a great friend of the family. No big deal. What the heck? Okay, so what did Samantha do prior to that night? I mean, it's normal to ask. Also, did they canvass the area? Did they canvass and talk to everyone, all the neighbors? Where are the notes for that? Where is that in the reports? Did they speak to everyone? That is where you start your investigation. You start from the beginning, all the way to the beginning. You look at all of her connections. Samantha was very politically connected. That would be, if I were the investigator, that would be the first thing I would look at. Obviously, Hamas had just attacked Israel on October 7th. So I would for certain have spent quite a bit of time, regardless of if it were a thing or not. I would have spent quite a bit of time looking at her connections, looking at her circle, looking at her political beliefs, looking at all of those things, because in this day and age and in this time that we are in, it would be quite pertinent information to figure out who and what she's involved in. And being a Jewish synagogue leader, it is very pertinent to make sure that you mark that off the list as soon as possible. Not to say you need to knock it off the list within the first, 30 seconds, like they did in Detroit. They literally marked it off the list like that. Now, remember when the little boy was deleted? I mean, that was a child. A child was deleted in an anti-Semitism crime. But they took Samantha's situation and just, no, nothing to see here. No, all good. Everybody's good. Don't worry, people. We got this. The black guy did it. It's okay. I know. We had a confession from a white guy, a Jew, but trust us, the black guy did it. He did it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they brushed off every other possibility, plausible possibility, to put Michael Jackson Bolanos at this scene. So, again, 7% of burglaries turn into an actual violent crime. That's nationally, not Detroit, nationally. So, so what state has the highest burglary rate? Go figure. New Mexico. It's not Detroit. No. Michigan. It's not Michigan. It's Detroit. I mean, it's New Mexico. New Mexico. Believe it or not. I don't know what New Mexico has that everybody wants, but that's where they are. So what state has the most violent crime? Looks like Louisiana. Yep. Louisiana. Ugh. Y'all, just being from Alabama, Y'all, I used to have Louisiana as a market. It is gross. That's all I got to say about that. But anyway. So when you're looking at these statistics, and you see that 7% nationally of burglaries turn into a violent crime. And it is known that most burglars don't want to be in a confrontational situation. They want to get in and get out. And also, something that Brian Brown pointed out in the trial was he was pointing out the computer. He was pointing out, like, this wasn't taken. Nothing was taken out of Samantha's home. Nothing. Her wallet, nothing. Everything that was literally right there when you walked in. Even if someone had gone into her house to steal, literally things were sitting in eyes view at the door. They wouldn't have even had to go any farther than the foyer to get her stuff. She could have still been asleep on the sofa, probably gone unnoticed, actually, and just taken the wallet and left. But he pointed out her computer, everything was still there. Most burglars, the first thing they go for is the computer, the office area, because the office area is where they believe most people keep their money, they're safe, that kind of thing. So that did not happen here. Instead, apparently, to the prosecution's narrative, they believe that someone went into this home, particularly Michael Jackson Bolanos, just went into this home. I guess he just got tired of checking cars and just decided to go into this townhouse and delete, and leave this horrifically bloody crime scene, which did have cast off, by the way. And there was just stuff everywhere, and was like, oh crap, I forgot to get that wallet. Oh my God, I totally forgot. I forgot the money. I forgot the computer. I had a backpack too to fill stuff up with, and I forgot all that. Man, I'm a terrible burglar. Oh, dang it. Man. I mean, what? I mean, y'all, make it make sense. Make it make sense. First of all, if I'm going to go down for deleting somebody, I better have gotten something out of the deal. Like, there better be something in it for me. What's in it for me? With them. That's what we used to say at my old job. With them. What's in it for me? What have you done for me lately? All those things. Like, dude, if I'm going down for something, you best believe I'm going to get some goody good. Okay? Because there is, You think I'm leaving somewhere? You think I'm doing that and leaving somewhere and being like, oh, dang, that's all I got? I got nothing. I got this torn up backpack and some candy. Y'all, really? Make that make sense. Now, I know, okay, I'm the only Asian on the earth that is not good at math. But, I mean, I don't have to be a math whiz for this to math. It don't math. But what does math is, once again, how Jeff Herbstman got use immunity and how this all came together at such a convenient time for Ryan Elsey, the prosecutor. Now, remember when I said in my last video that it takes 6 to 9 months for someone to get a job full from start to finish at the DOJ? Well, this case has been going on for 6 to 9 months, actually 9 months. And Ryan Elsey got assigned this case. I would say this case has been going on. Let's see. Michael has been in jail officially since December 13th. We are now in July. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So that's 8 months almost that Michael has been in jail. Brian Elsey was assigned this case. He did the pretrial preliminary hearing. Then the case got set. Trial date was set. And then after the trial was set and started, Ryan Elsey miraculously gets his job at the DOJ. And like I stated before, I spoke with the district attorney's office there in Detroit and learned that when a prosecutor has a case that they are working on and it's already in trial, they can't stop that case. They have to continue that case, and then they can go to a new job. Detroit, by the way, their attorneys have the largest caseload anywhere, and they sometimes can be carrying about 30 cases at a time. So if you think about that, 30 cases, and then also I was told that 30 cases, depending on the type of case, can sometimes equal double that, because the case can be very, very complex. It can be a very high profile case like this case. So depending on the types of cases they have, these cases can feel like double the caseload. So if you have a prosecutor that has, say, 30 cases, and you are leaving the prosecutor's office, and you have to dump those cases on another prosecutor, you have to go over those cases with that other prosecutor that you're dumping these cases on. And then you have to brief them. You have to let them know what the cases are about. You also have to finish the case that you're in trial with before you can leave the prosecutor's office. But the prosecutor's office knows you're leaving. They have enough notice that you're leaving because, duh, you have to inform the other prosecutors of the cases you're passing off. You also have to inform the judge. You have to inform the defense team. You have to inform the other attorneys, any other attorneys that are involved, aka Jeff Herbstman's attorneys, who also helped you probably get the job at the DOJ because they knew someone allegedly that worked at the DOJ in white collar crime and health care fraud, because you got the job in healthcare fraud at the DOJ as well, because someone knew someone that got you that job allegedly. So, it just all adds up. When you start to look at how the big picture works, and then you start to look at how everyone is connected through the synagogue, and then you start to look at people like this guy who is trolling on all the channels and all the chats, who works for Dana Nessler's office. Yeah, she is the Attorney General of Michigan, top of the echelon there. And Samantha Wall worked on her campaign. Now, if you look up Samantha Wall on LinkedIn or anywhere else, you will see that at first, everyone was blaming Rashida Tlaib. They said that it was her rhetoric that got Samantha deleted. Well, was it? We'll never know. Who has the power to make that rhetoric stop? Is it Rashida? Is it Dana Nessler? I don't know. But what I do know is this. I do know that Ryan Elsey now works for the DOJ. I do know that it takes at least 20 to 30 minutes for your body to start showing lividity and start showing some signs of coolness. And I do know that it takes up to 12 hours for your body to be going into complete rigor. And I do know that in order for Michael Jackson Bolanos to have felt her body to be cool to the touch or cold, she would have had to be laying out there a lot longer than what the prosecution is claiming happened at 4:20. By the way, the ADT system is 30 seconds off. So there's no way that Samantha Wall could possibly have been deleted in 0 seconds. And there's no way that Michael Jackson Bolanos could have done it. And there's no way that this time frame matches the prosecution, because the prosecution has clearly been watching way too many Marvel films or What's the other one? Justice League? I don't know. Marvel, superhero, whatever. They've just been watching too many films. They don't seem to understand the concept of how you delete someone. I mean, I would hope not, because I would hope that none of them are, deleters. But you would think if they're trying a case this big, that they would have some concept of something. But clearly they do not, which is probably why it's best that Ryan Elsey is going from a major crime prosecutor to healthcare fraud. So fun. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for him. Everyone be sure to congratulate Ryan Elsey on his new job at the DOJ working in fun healthcare fraud. Because you know what? I just think that crime is just not for him, since he has no idea how to pin down a time of death. I mean, no idea whatsoever. Because he believes in magic and superheroes and invisible, men, or floating like the Flash from one area to another. Clearly. And thank goodness you don't have that prosecutor anymore, because who knows what will happen to you. So anyway, I just wanted to share that little tidbit of information from the neighbor who found Samantha. I wanted to point out the fact that they hardly asked him any questions at all. They didn't ask him, why didn't you perform CPR? At least the prosecutor didn't. And they didn't ask him, how did you see any blood? Where was the dog while you were reaching out with your tippy toe fingers to touch the body, and you got no blood on you, but yet you didn't call 911. You had your wife do it, and she seemed to know more than you did. And she wasn't dressed to go outside. And no, we're not going to do CPR. We're not going to try that. We're too highfalutin to do that. So yeah. And also, just to show you that Michael Jackson Bolano said the same thing, that when he touched her, she was cold and crusty. Very odd explanation, but yes, she was cold and crusty and felt like wet paint on a wall, kind of, which I could see that, if there was that much blood she was kind of drenched in. And, if he touched her and he did get any blood on him, then yeah, that would make sense. But also, again, she would have to have been out there for quite some time, as I stated, because it takes a while for you to get cold, even in mid 40-degree temps. She was dressed like she was going somewhere or meeting somebody or something, or like somebody was there. I mean, as attorneys always say, which is one of my least favorite things attorneys say, is use your common sense. Because do you know how many people out there don't have common sense? I mean, stop asking people that. Stop telling people in the jury to do that, to use their common sense. Please, lawyers, stop doing that. These people don't have no dang common sense. I mean, my gosh. If they did, they will probably be sitting on a jury. Oh. That's just one of my things, one of my pet peeves, when lawyers ask jurors to do that. Use your common sense. Because you know what? Most people don't have common sense. Like, a lot of people are book smart, but they're not common sense smart. Or a lot of people are common sense smart, but not book smart. When you have that combination and you got 12 people deciding your fate, you are just in trouble. But I will say this. Thank the Lord above that Michael Jackson Bolanos has 12 people deciding his fate. He had 12 people deciding his fate instead of that judge, because that judge doesn't know her, from a hole in the ground. Because, hunty, it's gone. That girl, that woman, what we say, bless her heart. Bless her heart. But honey, we can't even use that, because we got people's lives on the line. I mean, when you got people's lives on the line, you can't even say bless her heart, because that ain't even an excuse for her. So anyway, I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget, this channel is not monetized. So please buy me a coffee. Also, I want to let you all know that the GoFundMe has been taken down by GoFundMe. So I have tried several times to have the GoFundMe put up, and GoFundMe keeps taking it down because of the type of GoFundMe that it is. It is to free Michael Jackson Bolanos because it is for an alleged, I guess, criminal situation. GoFundMe does not allow that. I don't know why, because at the time of all the riots and stuff going on, GoFundMe was, doing all kinds of GoFundMes, but for whatever reason, they keep taking down Michael's GoFundMe. But I have given little money that it did earn to Tierra, Michael's girlfriend. So we will try every way possible to get money to Michael. So whatever monies that I get off of by Buy Me a Coffee or my Cash App or whatever, it's all been going to Tierra. It hasn't been much, but every little bit helps. I will work with Tierra on setting up another GoFundMe and try to figure out the wording that it can be so that they will stop taking down my GoFundMes. So that's that. Apologies for that. Apparently, honesty is not the best way to go sometimes, as we can see in this trial. 감사합니다. Thank you so much. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment.